All right, folks, that's it. Let's jump into the first story for the day. First story. Now, basically, again, this is. I'm just going to show you CBS what they're saying because I had it. It took me a while to believe that they were actually planning to do this, but this is CBS. This is the actual headline, and it says, "Buckle up, America. The Fed plans to sharply boost unemployment." You're not misreading that. That is CBS News. And, the way I first came across this story was, the Federal Reserve saying they wanted to reduce demand. And when I read that, I was like, well, how do you reduce demand? The only way you can reduce demand, in other words, people wanting to buy things, is by making it so people are either unable to buy things or there's nothing of interest to buy. Maybe they want empty store shelves, maybe something like that. But they want to do it. And they want to cause unemployment somehow to make it so people not only don't want things but cannot afford things. And this is what CBS News is saying. I'll just go over this with you. CBS News, it says, in case the U.S. economy wasn't hurting enough already, the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor a reserve, and is one of the largest organizations to violate your financial sovereignty, right? The Federal Reserve has a message for Americans. It's about to get much more painful. It says Fed Chair Jerome Powell made that amply clear this week when the central bank projected its benchmark rate hitting 4.4% by the end of the year, even if it causes a recession. I thought we were already in a recession, but maybe they're finally admitting we're entering one. And this is what Powell is saying, the chair of the Federal Reserve. There will very likely be some softening of labor market conditions. Now that's a very legalese, governmentese type way of saying people are going to lose their jobs, and they're doing it because that's exactly the goal with this. And Powell continued stating, "We will keep at it until we are confident the job is done." They're going to keep doing it, keep making it worse, keep pushing this, keep causing unemployment, keep trying to lower inflation, although I don't think they're doing good with it right now. They're going to keep pushing this until the job is done. Whatever they have to do, they're going to do it. And that's going to be eating away at your savings accounts. That's going to be eating away at your basic livelihood. Maybe it's even going to cause you to lose your job. They're going to keep doing it until the job is done. And CBS News says, in plain English, that means unemployment. The Fed forecasts the unemployment rate to raise to 4.4% next year from 3.7% today, a number that implies an additional 1.2 million people losing their jobs. Now, briefly on that, there's a lot of different estimates on what the actual unemployment numbers in the United States are. Although they do say 3.7%, some people have put it up to 7% or even higher. One of the reasons being, if you're unemployed for more than like a year, you're not even included in the numbers anymore. If you're on welfare or something like that, they don't necessarily consider you to be unemployed. Not to mention this other key fact, which is if they're looking at employment numbers, they just flooded America with 2 million, going on 5 million illegal immigrants who are also competing, either going to be competing for the job market or competing for the welfare line. And of course, normally they would not be eligible for welfare or social benefits. The Biden administration has been giving them parole status. This is one of the big scandals that not many people are talking about. The Biden administration has been giving illegal aliens and migrants parole status. And when he grants them parole status, that makes them eligible for all the social welfare benefits, meaning they're eating up that pool of social welfare benefits. Then there's additional weight on the school system to the point where the schools can't withstand it to a good degree. And also more competition in the housing market, more competition for cars and gases, meaning those prices don't go down, meaning they stay high. And the people running those industries are making off like bandits, right? Supply and demand, right? Competition. If there's more competition for houses, say in New York, or apartments in New York, those prices do not go down. And if they're flooding the country with 5 million illegal aliens and migrants, some fall under both categories, those prices aren't going down. At the same time, too, it's competition for the job market and also less money in the pool for social welfare. Meaning this, that while the Federal Reserve is trying to reduce inflation, to reduce demand, their government in other ways is causing crises that are creating more demand. You flood the country again with 5 million people, all of whom demand the purchasing of housing or goods and whatever they need. That's creating more competition. Now, that keeps the prices high despite the fact that we're entering a recession, despite the fact that prices should be going down. And as part of that process, they want to increase the pain level to create competition for that small, those fading numbers of jobs that are being competed for, not just domestically between Americans and illegal aliens, but also internationally as different companies, the big ones especially, start trying to offshore jobs because they can hire people cheaper in other countries and also get around a lot of the legal red tape with the different types of benefits you have to give to employees, things like that. Really wild stuff. But anyways, the point is they're estimating it's going to cause, in the initial step, because they say they're going to keep pushing this, by the end of the year, they're anticipating they're going to cause 1.2 million people to lose their jobs, and that's a very conservative number. Again, given the fact that the unemployment rate in America, based on a lot of different estimates, is much higher than what they say, which is 3.7%. And Powell said this. He said, "I wish there was a painless way to do that. There isn't." In other words, they're saying it's going to hurt. They are going to cause pain, and they know they're going to do it, and it's going to hurt. Here's the idea. This is what CBS is saying now. CBS says, here's the idea behind why boosting the nation's unemployment could cool inflation. They're not trying to hide what the intention is. They want to cause unemployment. They say with an additional 1 million or 2 people out of work, after they flooded the country with an additional 5 million, the newly unemployed and their families would sharply cut back on spending. While for most people who are still working, wage growth would flatline. Folks, did you get that? Because they want to, in the initial stage by the end of the year, cause at least 1.2 million people to lose their jobs. They're saying that those people who no longer have work, that they and their families would sharply cut back on spending. You don't say. Maybe they'll be living in these tent cities in New York. Maybe they'll be living by this new specialized tent by the beachfront property in California. You won't be able to spend money. It'll cut back on spending because you won't have a job. That's what they're saying right now.